What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the Quinstead. Wanted to bring you a video today kind of on how to get started homesteading. The new year is quickly approaching, and I'm sure some of y'all have some New Year's goals where you want to become more self-sufficient, or you want to start homesteading, you want to start gardening, but you don't know where to start. It seems like a very overwhelming task when you think about it. You have these big ideas in your head of, I want to be 100% self-sufficient. I want to grow all the food I eat and all this stuff. But when it gets down to it, you have to have a starting point. So we're going to go over today kind of where we started and other really good starting points you can start at, and where a lot of other people start at when they start homesteading. One of the first things you want to always keep in mind when starting your homestead is start small. You don't have to go out and buy everything you need to be self-reliant off the bat. You're gonna have too much to learn and you will almost guaranteed to fail. So start small. The first area that a lot of people like to start in, and it's also where we started, is gardening. Gardening is a great spot to start, and you don't even have to have a huge garden either. We started with a 4-foot by 4-foot raised bed right in our backyard in the middle of the city, and that was our starting point. So if gardening interests you, just start a small garden, get your hands dirty, get in there, see if you like it, and see if you enjoy it. We're also going to be doing future videos on how to start gardening so you don't get overwhelmed just starting gardening, because that can also be very daunting at first when you don't have any knowledge on the subject or anything like that. So make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned to the channel so you can see the future videos on how to get started gardening and go down that process. Another really great starting point, and it's where a lot of other people start, is chickens. Whether that be backyard chickens or not, that's another great starting point. It's definitely an area that I wanted to start in when we started down this path, but I didn't want to keep chickens in my backyard. I wanted to wait till we were in an area where our chickens had much more room to graze around. That way we didn't have to keep them in the coop a lot of the times, and we could reduce the amount of feed that we're feeding them. Now, that doesn't mean I'm against backyard chickens. I am 100% for backyard chickens if you want to have backyard chickens, but with anything, there's pros and cons to it. So we are going to be doing future videos on how to get started raising chickens, whether it be for eggs or whether it be for meat, whether it be inside the yard or whether it be outside the yard. So make sure you're subscribed so you see any of those future videos on how to get started raising chicken. The next area you can get started in is the kitchen. Now, this is, I think, one of the most underrated areas where you can actually get started learning on homesteading, on being in the kitchen. So say I want to make the goal of next month, I don't want to buy any bread from the store. I can get in the kitchen and I can learn how to make homemade bread or any other type of dish that could incorporate fresh vegetables from the garden, or even preserving vegetables, canning, that kind of stuff as well. So keep in mind, you can always just start in the kitchen. If you don't have space for a garden, or if you don't have space for chickens, you can start homesteading and being more self-reliant in the kitchen. We already have a few videos on the channel about canning and cooking, but we're planning on doing more in-depth videos on how to get started canning, or easy recipes to start with as a homesteader, or learning to become more self-sufficient just in the kitchen. The next area I want to talk about is composting. You can start composting. Almost anybody who has a yard can start composting. Let's say you're planning on starting a garden in the spring or in the fall, but maybe that's not for 6 months to a year in the future. You can start composting today. Take any of your food scraps or anything you have left over, and you can either buy a composter. We have a plastic circle composter that we actually got for free because somebody was throwing it away. That's what we use the majority of the time now, but we didn't even start with that. We just started composting on the ground. I built some composting beds made out of bamboo, and we just started composting straight on the ground. You don't even need to have a garden when you compost. You can take that compost, and once it's ready to go, you can put that on your yard and help feed your lawn and help have a greener, better lawn. The last thing I want to talk about as far as getting started homesteading is knowledge. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you are connected to a device that gives you unlimited knowledge from the entire world. If you are unable to do anything with chickens, gardening, in the kitchen, you can always get online and have unlimited access to knowledge. If you don't have immediate internet access these days, you can also go to your local library and you can find books on homesteading, raising chickens, cooking, and and all sorts of self-reliance stuff. We also find a lot of books that we love on homesteading and self-reliance subjects at our local thrift stores or discount stores. They have a lot of them. These are some of our favorite books that we have. This one is What's Wrong with My Vegetable Garden, and Lissa absolutely loves this book. It is full with tons of information on what possibly could be going wrong with your vegetable garden as far as diseases and pests and all that sort of stuff. This book here is one of my new favorite books. It is the Ultimate Self-Sufficiency Manual, and Lissa got this for me recently at a local discount store called Ollie's, and it is chocked absolutely full of information, anything from first aid, self-sufficiency, building repairs, emergency preparedness, and all sorts of stuff, gardening, canning, and you name it, it is in this book. It actually reminds me a lot of my Boy Scout days and the Boy Scout manual that they would give us, and it just has so much great information as far as emergency preparedness, self-sufficiency, and everything like that. It reminds me a lot of that book. So if that's something that interests you, go check out this book. Try and go find it. Like I said, we got it at our local discount store called Ollie's, and it is just a great book to have on hand just in case you need it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comments below. Let us know where you started homesteading and what your future goals are and what you want your homestead to look like in the near future and in the next 10 years. We love to hear from everybody. If you guys have any questions, or even if you have any subjects that you want us to cover or you want us to try and do future videos on, please let us know in the comments. We love to hear from everybody, and we love to learn from everybody as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on homesteading, family gardening, raising chickens, all sorts of stuff. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're in tune with the channel. Thanks for watching.